put it easily. The dental students, the Riviersonderend petition, that's about the sports stadium, Zilandana petition. That is the issue with the remarcation or demarcation of wards. And those three we've gone through extensively. We've received a number of responses, and we can discuss those. And then awaiting tabling we'll discuss the executive undertaking shortly. There's the Port Riviersonderend Farmers petition, P. Hlubi Siseko Primary School issue, Fishing and Canning Communities petition, and residents of Kumanko and Nkora petition. So those have yet to go through the analysis process. We have also received one executive undertaking, and that is very complicated. It's the Hobhouse and Dipelaneng water petition. Huge numbers of communities who have suffered without any water whatsoever for many years. And we've been assured by the Deputy President that everything's on track and so many villages now have water. But I think we need to go for ourselves, turn taps on, make sure it's happening, and that he hasn't perhaps been misinformed, but we need to actually look for ourselves. So that's a trip I think we have to undertake at some stage, sooner rather than later. But we're waiting on the final analysis of that one. It's a very complex issue. So the briefing on the petition responses is going to be done by Giyani Simelane. I think if you would go ahead with those three, please.
Okay, thanks, Chair. Pasha. Thanks, Chair and members. I hope I'm audible. The first one relates to responses that are in relation to the petition submitted by the dental science students from CPUT. We had requested, we wrote to CPUT, we wrote to the Dental Council itself, SADTC. We wrote to the Department of Higher Education. We also wrote to Tygerberg Hospital. We received responses from CPUT and SADTC. The Department of Higher Education has not responded. The follow-up letters were sent to them. They didn't respond as well. No acknowledgement, no nothing. Tygerberg Hospital actually did respond, and they said the letter was misdirected. It has to go somewhere else across the road. It went there, and it seems like that's a wrong place as well. So this consolidated response covers specifically CPUT and the SADTC. There is a bit of a background in terms of where the petition was all about. But one thing that is clear is that both acknowledge that there is a problem. They only disagree on who is liable. With that said, Chair Portia, I will move to the summary of responses. First is the relocation from Tygerberg Hospital. CPUT states that the relocation was not initiated by the university itself. Instead, the Department of Health declined to extend the lease of the building that they were leasing beyond the 31st May 2025, which was due to the Tygerberg Hospital, or that wing specifically was to be redeveloped. So the university subsequently secured a new lease facility in Tyger Valley, and they converted it into a dental sciences teaching facility. On the same matter, SADTC, the Dental Council confirms that the relocation actually did result from the government's decision to terminate the lease. But they are also clear it had nothing to do with them as a council enforcing any action. Also, they go on to actually separate matters, which is the cease of the lease and the problems that are faced by the students. In terms of student engagement, CPUT states that it has maintained continuous engagement with affected students through regular consultation meetings with faculty leadership, also meetings with the Dean and the Deputy Vice Chancellor, and also updates and ongoing communication, and also individual consultations when necessary. They stated in their response that any outstanding matters, or rather most of the outstanding matters, are dependent on external statutory bodies, in a way, the Dental Council, and regulatory processes beyond its control. In terms of accreditation of the new facilities, what we drew from the responses is that the CPUT is of the view that the Tiger Valley facility has been established, the fire safety approval has been finalized, and then the Council of Higher Education conducted an accreditation visit on the 5th of May, 2026. And additional information that was requested by the Council for Higher Education has been submitted. According to them, they are awaiting the Council for Higher Education's accreditation outcome. They say, on the other hand, they also say the council inspected the laboratories on the 5th of June following a court order. I think this is going to be mentioned somewhere down the line as well. And the inspection report was received on the 17th of June, 2026. And the corrective actions are being undertaken. So, on the other hand, the Dental Council, SADTC, states that the inspections that were conducted in June 2025 and June 2026 found that the facilities were non-compliant with statutory requirements. According to them, approval cannot be granted until the CPUT rectifies the deficiencies that were identified, also install and test all the required equipment, and address any outstanding health and safety risks. They also say it cannot be granted until a CPUT obtains electrical compliance certification, obtains gas compliance certification, and successfully completes a follow-up inspection. And unless these conditions are met, their position is that the facilities cannot be legally used for training. So there is a contradiction that we picked up. In terms of measures to reduce academic disruptions, CPT indicates that it has implemented several interventions, including continuous engagement with accreditation bodies, and it has identified alternative training facilities and provided academic support for affected students, including curriculum planning as well. They also say they've had engagements with funders and stakeholders. They also noted that the proposed temporary training arrangements involving DUT and TUT were not approved by the Dental Council. Members and Chair, you will remember that in the analysis that we did for the petition, we did mention that it's not only a CPUT matter. It seems like DUT and TUT students are also affected. On the same issue of reducing academic disruption, the Dental Council, on the other hand, stated that they've conducted the inspections and provided guidance on the required improvements. They also stated that they have indeed undertaken a court-ordered inspection, and they maintained that communication with the CPUT and relevant government departments is ongoing. And they say they are still continuing to advise CPUT on the requirements for accreditation. We guess it's just a question of disagreeing, but there is engagement between them. In terms of the status of students, According to the CPUT, all affected students remain registered and they continue to receive accommodation and a monthly allowance. They also stated that graduating timelines depend on accreditation approval and availability of approved training facilities. On the other hand, the Dental Council state that any student progression falls within the CPUT's responsibility, but they also emphasize that practical training cannot resume until compliant facilities receive formal approval. Also, in the analysis of the petition, there was a mention of legal proceedings, but at the time, we didn't know who was litigating against who. Based on the responses that we got, both CPUT and SADTC confirmed that there are multiple legal matters that remain before the courts. The university CPUT's position is that CPUT, DUT, and TUT have jointly approached the High Court seeking orders to review and set aside the current practical examination framework. Also, they are seeking to register approximately 159 pipeline students and also resolve the long-standing dispute with the Dental Council. They are also seeking to restore sustainable training within the profession. The universities themselves argues that the discussions with the Dental Council have remained unresolved since 2019, and as a result, no new student intakes have occurred for several years now. And as a result, also dental technology programs face possible closure. Only 5 graduates have qualified nationally since 2023. Now, the position of the council, the Dental Council, SADTC, is that the universities are challenging the council's statutory authority under the Dental Technicians Act of 1979 to regulate education and training. They maintain that it is legal, they as a council are legally mandated to approve training institutions, that they may inspect facilities and withdraw approval where standards are not met, and that approving non-compliant facilities will undermine professional standards and public safety. They also on their response confirmed that there is a separate litigation that was instituted by students against CPUT, which resulted in a court-ordered inspection of the new facilities. That's the matter I was referring to earlier, to say there were court-ordered inspections that were ordered. In terms of NSFAS issues, the CPUT stated that NSFAS registration deadlines and appeals and funding decisions remain the responsibility of NSFAS itself. They continue on their side to assist students through its financial aid office by escalating funding related matters where appropriate. In terms of residence review, they say the council has established an ad hoc committee to investigate temporary accommodation arrangements and broader accommodation challenges. The committee's findings, that is the CPUT committee, are expected to guide future accommodation management and student engagement. There was also one of the requests for the petitioner related to the suspension of the VC because of reasons that were stated in the petition. The CPUT responded by saying that the VC can only be suspended following a lawful council process and a formal council decision where credible evidence will be provided as well. In terms of, as I'm about to conclude, in terms of government improvements, CPUT has established a residence accreditation committee that's comprising of representatives from students, student leadership, and resident placement officers and student affairs and finance and residence business unit. So this committee is responsible for strengthening oversight of private accommodation and also ensuring compliance with NSFAS requirements. issues that arose out of these responsibilities is that clearly the new dental technology training facility has not yet obtained full accreditation and regulatory approval. That is why we are here. CPUT attributes the delays to external accreditation processes, whilst the Dental Council attributes them to CPUT's failure to meet prescribed compliance requirements. Also, what stands out is that this long-standing dispute between the university and the Dental Council has become a central obstacle that's affecting program accreditation and student progression and future student intake as well. Also, students remain academically disadvantaged despite remaining registered as confirmed by the university and continuing to receive financial support as well. The ongoing The ongoing litigation has significantly delayed the resolution of the disputes as it dates back to 2019, as mentioned elsewhere in the analysis. No new student intake, as already mentioned, and the alternative training arrangements proposed by CPUT were reportedly not approved by the SADTC, the Dental Council. Again, it stands out that accommodation concerns remain, although CPUT has introduced new governance measures and accommodation reforms, and graduation timelines remain uncertain until there is some and depend on regulatory approvals and accreditation outcomes and court decisions. Observations are that the CPUT and SADC and SADTC agree that the relocation from Tygerberg Hospital was due to an expiry of a lease agreement. The principal disagreement between them is in regards to the responsibility for the accreditation delays and the interpretation of the council's statutory authority. The dispute has evolved beyond the infrastructure challenges, which was moved at the end of the lease and needing a new structure, into a broader legal and governance conflict between the higher education institutions and the statutory professional regulator. While CPUT reports continued engagement and student support, the Dental Council maintains that professional standards still cannot be compromised by approving facilities that do not meet statutory requirements. And this dispute has national implications, clearly affecting all three South African universities, CPUT, DUT, and TUT. And it limits the future supply of qualified dental and technologies. In terms of what the committee may need to do as a follow-up, one, the committee may need to obtain updated timelines from CPUT, the Council for Higher Education, and the Dental Council regarding completion of accreditation and registration of the new training facilities. They mentioned a number of dates or activities that happened around June, but we need an updated timelines because clearly there is still an issue there. Secondly, the committee may want to request regular progress reports from CPUT in particular on implementation of the corrective actions that were identified during the inspection by the Dental Council. The committee again may want to monitor the outcomes of both High Court matters and assess their implications for the current students and the future program accreditation. The committee may also want, and I think Chair alluded to this in her opening remarks, we may want to facilitate a joint engagement between the stakeholders, CPUT, the Dental Council, the Council for Higher Education, the Department of Higher Education, Department of Health, DUT and TUT, and the affected students to explore a coordinated or mediated resolution. We also may want to assess whether their existing regulatory and accreditation processes adequately balance professional standards with the need to minimize disruption and to students. In particular, this will be important because while the dispute seems to originally have been about a building infrastructure, basically, it actually escalated into regulatory matters and policy matters. So it's maybe one thing the committee may want to look to. And lastly, the committee may want to consider whether legislative or policy interventions are required to prevent similar disputes from disrupting professional training programs in the future. I will hold it there, Chair. The rest is just a conclusion which basically summarizes what we have been discussing in terms of the response themselves. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you very much, Mr. Zilandana. I think that sums it up very well. I think we have two, maybe three major issues to consider here. Number one, this country could run out of dentists very soon. The fact that only 5 students have gone through the system in the last, 3 years is outrageous. We can't survive medically without qualified dentists. So that's an issue. Of course, what the students have been going through is an issue, and it looks like it's not an issue while at this university, it is an issue of the actual building they have to reside in. But they seem to be equal issues in the other 2 relevant universities. And it's absolutely bizarre to me that they can't sit down and work out whose responsibility each issue lies under. It's absolutely inconceivable that they haven't been able to get their act together in all this time. And I agree, we may need to look at legislation and the needs to work on that. I'm very concerned that the Minister of Health hasn't bothered. Was it the Minister of Health or Minister of Education? Education, I believe, has simply ignored our letters. So that has to be dealt with. Any hands and questions, please? Yes, thank you, Honourable. Go ahead.
This is Honorable Mutama, Chair.
Yes, indeed.
The report is heartbreaking, really.
Agreed.
Firstly, I think we need to be advised around what instruments we have to hold all these institutions accountable, up to the minister. Chair, I do think, now you said that the minister's office is not responding to our letters.
Mm.
I think we must escalate this to the parliament and complain to the speaker to say that we have sent these letters, we have not received any response. Also, I think the deputy president is responsible for governance, but we must just check again the chairperson. Who in the state institution, in the executive, we should be calling upon to deal with the minister, because the minister can't receive letters from a parliamentary committee and ignore them. This is really, really shocking. I'm almost thinking that as a committee, maybe we must even engage the media on this matter. we must find a point of pressure to get a response from the minister, because it seems to me that the minister is the best placed to resolve and crack the whip on this matter. I mean, these students now is many years, they are just languishing in no man's land. This is shocking beyond belief, and that everybody is not taking responsibility. So, Chair, I'm just checking that we must have a clearer process of holding everybody accountable. But it seems to me we need to deal with the minister at this point. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. I don't see any other hands at the moment, but I agree with you absolutely. For the minister to ignore letters from Parliament is quite shocking. I've actually never had that happen before in relation to any committee. So that is an issue, and I think that complaining directly to the speaker is the way to go there. I think also a raft of questions to the minister, which the minister is obliged to answer, would be a two-pronged issue. So I think that's step number 1 and 2. But it's inconceivable that a minister will simply ignore such requests. I've never heard of such a thing happening. It's very concerning to me that you have two bodies who's simply sitting and pointing fingers at each other. No, it's your job. No, it's your job. I think it's your job. But it's interesting that from the moment this committee was established and we received the petition, suddenly they were doing oversight visits. So what have they done for the last umpteen years? It seems to me absolutely nothing. So the existence of this committee has generated some activity. But I think, yes, the minister is showing a great dereliction of duty here. So I think you're right. Let's report the minister to the speaker, demanding responses, and also put through questions that the minister is, of course, obliged to answer. So I think that's a good start. And I think in the final analysis, once we've received responses from the minister, we'll be in a position to call all the bodies in, or all the bodies together, whether we do it live or online, and thrash this thing out. What we need is deadlines. Where are the deadlines? Yeah, we'll get round to that. We'll get round to this. Meanwhile, the students are ticking over, having lost another year of their lives as they sit in paid accommodation doing absolutely nothing, as far as I can tell, and nothing that can result in their having their full qualifications. So it's a terrible situation to be in, and I think we need to now, we've played nice, and we have sent, as we do with every petition, we send out letters to every one of the role players and say, this is the petition, and this is, we'd like your input on from your perspective, and we've received many of those, but nothing from the minister. Honourable Tama, please go ahead.
No, Chair, it was a legacy hand. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Okay, I didn't see it. Didn't look old at all. Thank you. So yes, I agree with you absolutely.
My hand is up, Chairperson. Apologies for that.
Okay, please go
Honorable
ahead.
Masila. Sorry for that, Chairperson.
That's
No,
okay.
I just wanted to be certain that beyond the letter that could have been written to the minister, have we engaged with him? Because I consider appearing before the committee as probably the last resort, so that we are
Yes.
certain that if we take such decisions, it's because everything else have failed, and therefore we then subpoena you to appear before the committee. I just wanted to verify that.
Yes, look, subpoenaing is absolutely the last step, frankly. I think you know, that is the absolute last step, because it's a legal process. Certainly a request would be the beginning. Mr. Similane or Portia, could one of you explain who has been written to and who has failed to respond in this regard? Mr. Similane?
Chair, I think Portia is in a better position
I thought maybe so.
because I know that beyond writing letters, she has actually made phone calls as well to the office, but I think she's in
Okay.
a better position to elaborate on that one.
Let's hear then from your perspective.
Thank you, Chairperson. With regards to specifically to the CPUT petition, we had written letters to the Department of Higher Education and Training, and also sent a follow-up letter after not receiving response after the deadline that we had given them to respond. And also South African Dental Technicians Council, which they have responded. We've also sent a letter to Tygerberg Hospital, which was redirected somewhere else, and then it ended up that place we had sent it to, it's not the right place. They redirected us somewhere else. We had also returned to NSFAS, and they just acknowledged our correspondence, but we did not receive any response. Thank you,
So the
Chair.
most concerning one, I think, for me is the lack of response from the Department of Higher Education and the Minister. Did you check that they actually received the letter? Have you spoken to anyone in the department?
Yes, they did, Chairperson, because they did respond via email that they've received the correspondence and they will be responding, but we never
Well, it would be nice
any
if
response.
if they had responded by the deadline. So yes, I think we need to put in an official complaint to the Speaker. We can't let this slide, because this one slides, it sets a precedent and they'll all just ignore the letters. So let's write to the Speaker and complain, put through a raft of questions to the Minister, and once we have those responses, we'll have to call them all together and thrash this out and get absolute cast in stone deadlines. I mean, if it's a couple of issues with the building, for heaven's sakes, they could fix it in a matter of no time at all. And yet they're saying, no, it's not my job, it's your job. And they just keep passing the potato around the room. It's ridiculous. And it's not assisting these students at all. And it's not assisting this country in obtaining qualified dentists. It's a ridiculous situation. So is there anyone who has a problem with that way forward, or any suggestions on a further means to deal with this matter? You're happy? Okay, I think that will, thank you, Honourable Bowman. I think that will be the way forward. If you can make notes of that, and I'll sit and work on those questions in conjunction with the team and get those through, and let's see what they come up with. And once we have responses from the Speaker and to those questions, we'll pull them in a room together. So thank you for that. Could we now move on to the next one, Mr. Similane?
Thanks, Chair. This one relates to the petition that was received from the Riviersonderend community regarding the deteriorating state of sporting facilities, including the demolition of a sports pavilion that was never replaced. We got responses from the Western Cape Provincial Treasury, the Department of Cultural Affairs and Sports, Western Cape, and the Kloof Municipality, of which Riviersonderend also falls under. Consolidating the responses, we actually picked up that all the submissions that they are making, they kind of acknowledge that conditions are indeed deteriorating, and that the responsibility for planning, maintenance, and implementation primarily rests with the Tivaterskloof Municipality. The Department of Cultural Affairs and Sport only provides technical support and funding only where the municipalities submit applications that are compliant as well through the proper mechanisms. Summary of responses, Portia. The provincial treasury's response actually indicated that following a receipt of our letter and the petition that we attached to them, they actually engaged the municipality, Tivaterskloof Municipality. And in their engagement, they reported that the municipality acknowledged that there is a problem of aging infrastructure in the municipality. There is inadequate maintenance of infrastructure. There are funding constraints. There is vandalism and theft of infrastructure. And then there is also an increasing community demand, and there is also of facilities, and then there is also delays arising from procurement processes and the regulatory approvals. So these were issues that were raised by the municipality to provincial treasury. But also the municipality further indicated that the interventions are being implemented under its financial recovery plan, including maintenance programs, tariff reviews, preventative maintenance initiatives, and partnerships with EPWP and other NGOs. The Department of Cultural Affairs and Sports also responded, as I've already mentioned, and they made it clear that the responsibility for local sports infrastructure lies with the municipality, whilst they, as a department, only provide technical support, oversight, and funding assistance where projects are formally included in the municipality's IPDs. The department also confirmed that officials have engaged local stakeholders regarding the condition of the same sport facilities that are a major part of the petition now. They also confirmed that a site visit was done in July 2024, and during that visit, it was confirmed that the demolition of the sports pavilion, and that indeed the sports pavilion was demolished, and that after that, there was also deterioration around some facilities as well. They also acknowledged that there was no replacement for the pavilion. And then the netball courts have also deteriorated as alleged by the petitioner as well. And the adjacent waste depot negatively affects the sporting environment. Again, they are concurring with the petitioner here. They also confirmed that there was no funding applications from the Riviersonderend sports infrastructure. They confirmed that there isn't any funding applications specifically for Riviersonderend sports infrastructure that has been submitted by the municipality in the past 3 financial years. Members will recall that there was a specific question that was suggested in terms of what funding has been there for the past 3 years, and the confirmation we're getting is that there hasn't been any application actually that was submitted, and consequently there has been no provisional infrastructure funding that has been allocated. Although the Tivaterskloof Municipality received funding for Pineview Sports Facility upgrades during the current year 26-27, there are no approved projects that are existing for specifically the community that wrote the petition, Riviersonderend. The Tivaterskloof Municipality confirmed as well that it is currently implementing the financial recovery plan as referred to earlier, and acknowledged that there are several operational and infrastructure challenges affecting the communities. They clarified that they are responsible for managing numerous public facilities, including sports field, parks, libraries, community halls, cemeteries, and other open spaces. And these facilities continue to experience maintenance backlogs and increasing financial pressures. To address these challenges, they have committed to intensify maintenance and repair programs. They've also committed to implement preventative maintenance systems and review tariffs to improve financial sustainability. They also committed to invest in maintenance of equipment and establishing long-term maintenance contracts, and also expand partnerships with NGOs and the EPWP to improve service delivery and create employment opportunities. Looking at all their responses combined, it is clear that there is no approved municipal infrastructure project that currently exists, specifically in Riviersonderend. It's also clear that the demolition of the sports pavilion has not been followed by any approved replacement plan, as was alleged by the petitioner. It's also clear that there are no funding applications that were submitted by Tivaterskloof Municipality on behalf of Riviersonderend over the past 3 financial years, which then prevented provincial funding allocation for this community. It is also clear that the sports facilities are continuing to deteriorate due to aging infrastructure and inadequate maintenance, vandalism, theft, and budget constraints. The MFR plan limits its ability to address infrastructure backlogs. And then also there seems to be poor coordination between municipal planning and provincial funding mechanisms. And this has delayed maintenance infrastructure investment. The location of a waste depot adjacent to the sports fields raises health, environmental, and safety concerns. Again, it was one of the key concerns by the petitioner. And lastly, the maintenance backlogs are compounded by procurement delays and limited municipal technical capacity. Observations are that all respondents, stakeholders, seem to recognize and agree that the poor condition of sporting facilities is actually a real thing, it's a real issue, and they acknowledge the concerns raised by the community. There appears to be a broad agreement that the principal constraint is not the availability of provincial funding, but rather the absence of a municipal project planning and formal funding applications. This was actually raised by both the Treasury, the municipality, and also the Department of Sport. Also, it comes out that clearly from the responses that the municipality has correctly identified several corrective interventions under its financial recovery plan, but implementation will only depend on financial recovery of the municipality itself and improve institutional capacity, which was cited as one of the weaknesses. The absence of an approved replacement for the demolished sports pavilion continues to negatively affect the community's access to safety facilities. Now, the recommended steps, unlike the previous petition, on this one, it does seem like there isn't much of a dispute. So the committee can only kind of advise. One recommended step is that the committee must advise the Tivaterskloof Municipality to prioritize the preparation and submission of a comprehensive business plan for the upgrading of the Riviersonderend sporting facility for inclusion in its IDP. One other recommendation will be the committee engage the Department of Culture and Sports to provide technical support to the municipality, which is actually its responsibility to ensure that project proposals comply with funding requirements under the Division of Revenue Act and the Municipal Infrastructure Grant Framework. Thirdly, the committee may advise the municipality to develop and publish a phased implementation plan for the rehabilitation of the sporting facilities, including clear timelines, budgets, and responsible officials. The committee then should also request periodic progress from the municipality on the implementation of its financial recovery plan as it relates to the above-mentioned sports infrastructure and other recreational facilities. The committee again may advise the municipality to prioritize resolving the safety concerns associated, in specifically health safety concerns that are associated with the waste depot that is adjacent to the sports field, and develop a replacement plan for the sports pavilion that was never replaced. Lastly, this committee should probably consider conducting a follow-up oversight visit to assess progress on maintenance, on the funding applications, and any implementation of the commitments that were made by the municipality and the provincial department. Thank you, Chair and members.
Thank you
The
very much.
part is just a conclusion which summarizes again what has already been alluded to.
Indeed.
Thanks, Chair.
Thank you very much. I don't see any hands at this stage, but it's interesting to me that this little, and it's very small, municipality had a change in leadership on the 28th of November last year. So they've not been in for even a year, and have landed with these issues. So I'm very glad they've got a finance recovery plan underway. But I agree, and now they must come up with the applications for the sporting facilities, etc. I think it is positive that they're pulling in EPWP, etc., to try and clean the place up and do what should have been a maintenance job all along. But I equally agree that we need to ask for perhaps 6 monthly reports, progress reports on the cleaning up and renovation of the existing sporting facilities, and to hear if an application has gone through to the province for perhaps the building of a new stadium. It may again fall to being an issue of finance, but they need to tell us if it is, and then we need an explanation from the province for that. Is there any other suggestion that anyone can make at this stage of a way forward in regards to the sporting facilities there? Okay, it seems everyone is happy with that as a way forward. So yes, letters to the municipality asking for 6 monthly updates in regard to all of the claims that they made about who would be cleaning up, etc., and working on. And we want to see a plan that's put through an application to the province for upgrading or even building stadia at that within the municipality. I think that's where we sit at the moment. It all lands at the feet of the municipality. So let's ask them. And as I say, they haven't been running the place for even a year, but it's now their baby, so they need to deal with it. I think there are no further hands, so let's move on to the third one. Thank you, Mr. Simelane.
Thank you, Chair. This one relates to a petition that was received from the Eastern Cape Zilandana community, which is within the Palace administrative area, Kumkani Mhlonhlo local municipality, or Artambo district in the Eastern Cape. The issue here has to do with what delimitation processes that were undertaken by the Municipal Demarcation Board, MDB. The petition, just as a background, alleged that there was inadequate consultation during the ward demarcation process, and they expressed their concerns that the new ward boundaries could negatively affect community cohesion, representation, and access to municipal services. This one, Chair and members, it's one of those that have actually since moved quite a lot, although we still need to treat it with caution, especially following the committee's intervention or Parliament's intervention. The Eastern Cape COGTA, the district municipality or Artambo district municipality, the Kumkani Mhlonhlo local municipality, and the MDB all engaged with the community to address the issues that were raised. And then there was subsequent correspondence that we received from the petitioners indicating that meaningful engagement has indeed taken place and that the parties have reached a constructive understanding regarding the way forward. So we got a response from the petitioners. We got a response from the MDB. We also got correspondence from the Kumkani Mhlonhlo local municipality, not so much as a detailed response, more like indicating that they are indeed meeting the community more than anything else. The summary of responses, Portia. Following the referral of the petition to this committee, as I've already mentioned, COGTA, the district municipality, the local municipality, all jointly visited the village, Zilandana village. These representatives, COGTA government representatives, met directly with the affected residents and the petitioners. The community was given an opportunity to explain the history of the demarcation dispute and the perceived impact of the ward changes. And then Eastern Cape COGTA officials explained the legislative ward delimitation process and the current ward boundaries and the limitations preventing immediate amendments. The response we got was that this engagement was constructive and satisfactory to all parties. The Kumkani Mhlonhlo municipality made some commitments, specifically to strengthen community participation by holding some selected council meetings within the villages to improve accessibility for residents. They made a commitment to allow residents to observe council proceedings. They made a commitment to creating greater opportunities for rural communities to participate in municipal decision making. They made a commitment that ward boundaries do not negatively affect, or rather it was a reassurance that the ward boundaries do not negatively affect service delivery or community participation. The first community-based council meeting was scheduled, and we subsequently received correspondence that it did actually sit on the 30th of July 2026. The petitioners, which basically the community itself, then also subsequently informed the committee and Parliament that, one, they appreciate the intervention that has been made. They also are satisfied with the government's efforts to engage the community, government in this case being the Eastern Cape COGTA or the Eastern Cape province. And they also informed they understand, now they do understand that what boundaries cannot be amended outside the statutory delimitation cycle. They also indicated that they intend to participate fully during the next public participation and what delimitation process. They also indicated that they remain committed to peaceful dialogue and cooperative governance. As how do I put it? As a summary, they actually requested that we do take note of the positive developments when we, or these specific positive developments, when we consider this petition. The MDB, Municipal Demarcation Board, also responded and confirmed a few things. One, that the delimitation process did comply with the Municipal Structures Act of 1998, including all statutory consultation requirements. They further advised that technical consultations were conducted on the 30th of January 2025, that public consultation meetings were held on the 10th of April 2025, that notices were published before consultations were held, and that draft what boundaries were gazetted and a statutory 14-day objection period was provided. They also indicated that objections received were analyzed against also indicated that final ward boundaries were published in the Provincial Gazette during December 2025. The final ward configuration has already been handed over to the IEC for administration of the 2026 local government election. Consequently, the MDB indicated that it has no legal authority to amend the ward boundaries outside the next delimitation cycle. At this point, Chair and members, I must indicate that beyond the response of the MDB, they actually provide annexures as well of all the things that they say did happen. For example, they've attached an attendance list, attendance register for community members who participated in the consultations. Of course, the names are redacted, but the register is a copy of the register was provided as an annexure. Notices were in the form of flyers that were produced advertising the meetings were provided. There were radio broadcasts or community radio station broadcasts. They also attached evidence of that actually happening, where discussions were taking place and another. So basically, most of the things that they are alluding to say they were met, they have also provided evidence as annexures, including actually an attachment of a copy of the Gazette itself. So in terms of the key issues that arose out of all the responses, is that where one, community concerns regarding boundaries, representation, and service delivery prompted this petition. If you check carefully, it wasn't only about shifting boundaries, but it was the impact of shifting boundaries on service deliveries and representation, amongst other things. Another thing that stood out is that, as I've already mentioned, the MDB confirmed, as we had requested, that all the statutory consultation and public participation requirements were met, and they provided evidence of that. Another issue that stands out is that if there were indeed any disputes or unhappiness it's a matter that can only be legally amended until I cannot be legally amended until the next window. And the petitioner seems to be aware and happy with that, as confirmed by their last correspondence to the committee. Another thing that stand out was that the municipality has, after this petition, at least committed to improving rural participation by holding those council meetings within the affected committees, starting with the one that's set on the 30th, as confirmed by both the municipality, which actually also submitted some kind of evidence by way of a letter advertising the meeting and the agenda items, and indeed the demarcation matter was part of that agenda item, and there is we do have evidence of that. One other key thing, which is I think is the most important of all, is that the petitioners have indicated their satisfaction with the responses that they have got so far, and have committed to continued engagement through future public participation processes. Observations that we made out of all these responses is that the committee's intervention appears to have successfully facilitated dialogue between the community and the relevant authorities. Although the community's request for immediate ward boundary changes could not be accommodated within the current legislative framework, but the departments and the municipality responded constructively by improving communication and also committing to greater community participation. This matter, therefore, seems to have shifted from one of dispute to one of ongoing engagement. The commitments made by the municipality, in particular regarding the community meetings, now, in our view, it represents a practical step towards improving transparency and strengthening of local governance. Given the movements that have happened since we started engaging with this petition, some of the steps that may happen now is the committee may wish to note that the petitioners have expressed satisfaction with the engagements and the government's response. The committee again may wish to request a progress report from the Kumkani Mhlonhla local municipality on the implementation of its commitment to hold council meetings with rural communities, so that it doesn't become just that once off of the 30th of July. We, as the committee, again, may want to encourage continued engagement between the municipality, COGTA, and the community in preparation for the next ward delimitation cycle. The committee, again, may wish to request that the community residents receive adequate notice and meaningful opportunities in future to participate during the next public participation process. The committee again may wish to not monitor service delivery, as commitments were made with regards to service delivery within the community to ensure that the current ward boundaries do not negatively affect the municipal services or community representations, as they were given reassurance by the province. Lastly, Chair, the committee may, given the movements again that has happened, and we may wish to consider closing this petition, subject to monitoring of the commitments that have been made by the municipality and all the relevant stakeholders. Again, the conclusion just summarizes everything, Chair. I thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Zilandana. Look, I was initially very uncomfortable with this one because I felt the municipality were telling us, yes, everything's fine. But then we did hear from the petitioner, and they seem equally understanding of the fact that it's too late. I'm hoping, and I have not looked, perhaps one of you could just check the legislation, that no changes can be made legally at this stage. I'm guessing they would have told us exactly the process. So because it's gone through to the IC already, I'm guessing there can be no further changes. And it's no good telling us that there are all these processes when we're sitting in the full knowledge that an entire community knew nothing about it. So I've done public participation meetings around the country numerous times, and every time you go, another community knows nothing about it. People arrive and they know nothing about it. So it is the nature of the beast, but in this case, they came to Parliament, they asked us for relief. I think we've supplied it, and I agree that if we ask for 2 6-monthly reports on, because usually municipalities have one council meeting a month. That is the norm as I know it. I stand to be corrected. But if we have a schedule where it gives the rural areas in which they're going to meet, then I think we can be satisfied that they're actually doing the job and taking, as it were, Parliament to the people, which is really their job. So I think as long as the petitioner is satisfied, I think a letter to the petitioner saying, considering all of the above, are you satisfied, and do you accept our right now to close the petition? So I don't think we must just do it unilaterally. Let's put it to the petitioner. If they're happy with that, then I'm happy to close it. Does anyone have an alternative opinion? Going, gone. Okay, so I think that was, thank you for that. It was a great summary, Mr. Simelane. Let's just move a bit further down on the agenda. Now, the rest of the petitions received, do we have sort of any other summaries we can go through at this stage? Mr. Simelane, is there any further analysis in terms of Botrafia, P. Klubi, fishing, and the residents of Pumanco?
No, Chair, for now, I think Namhla is gonna
Yes.
take us through a tabling of the undertaking, and
Okay.
I think 1 or 2 of the petitions again.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for that. And Nompa, yeah, I'm well aware that this is the first of the executive undertakings that we have received, and it takes an inordinate amount of time to do the research and put that together for us. But if you could give us an overview, a general overview, in the knowledge that your research has not been completed, you can give us an idea of what it's about. I am of the opinion that we need to go there and look for ourselves, and get the engineer to tell us exactly what's happening, and to go to some of the villages they say have water and test it and find out how many of the villages do not. And I'm also very aware that this project has gone on for years and years and years, and many millions have evaporated along with the water. So I'm not going to simply swallow what's fed to us. I think we need to look for ourselves. Could you give us an overview, please?
Good evening, Chair. Good evening, honorable members. Chair, I don't know if I should start with the petition or you want me to start with the undertaking itself.
Let's start with the petition. I think one leads into the other. Yeah.
So I'm trying to share my screen. Honorable members, I'm going to start with the Hobhouse and Dipelaneng water petition. The residents of Hobhouse and Dipelaneng submitted this petition to draw urgent attention to the ongoing failure to provide reliable and safe water supply to the communities by the Municipality local municipality in the Eastern Free State. Access to water is necessity and essential service, yet residents have been left without consistent water from their taps and without adequate alternative supply measures. This situation has placed significant hardships on households, schools, businesses, and elderly children and other vulnerable members of the communities. Through this petition, the residents request immediate intervention, accountability, and sustainable plan to restore water services and prevent further neglect of the affected communities. An overview of the petition. Dipelaneng is a well-known township in Hobhouse, Free State, and falls under the Matsope local municipality. The municipality is a Category B municipality situated in the Eastern Free State province. The municipality is incorporates 5 small towns, namely Lady Brand, Hobhouse, Twisprate, I can't read, and Taba Pochio. Okay. Due to the Matsupa local municipality's failure to maintain its buildings, including water treatment plants, Labor Inspector conducted a health and safety inspection on 18 December 25 in terms of the Section 30 of the Occupation Health and Safety Act 85 of 1993. This resulted in the municipality being prohibited from continuing with the water treatment works because the employees were at risk of fire and electrocution as the electrical installation at the plant was not connected and chlorine was not properly stored. The municipality acknowledges in the IDP, the municipality acknowledges the following challenges affecting water service provision: insufficient raw water in all towns, aged infrastructure such as treatment plants, supply pipes, pump stations, and control valve chambers, lack of qualified process controls on all treatment plants, inconsistent water quality. For these petitions, these are the key stakeholders and their roles and responsibility. Matsupe local municipality is the primary water service authority responsible for providing, maintaining, and restoring local water services. Thabo Mafutsane District Municipality. This is a district level government stakeholder which provides regional oversight and coordination within the municipality areas. The Department of Water and Sanitation. As a national sector department responsible for water policy, regulation, support, and oversight of water services issues. Corporate Governance and Traditional Affairs, COGTA, support oversight of municipality governance and can help coordinate interventions where local government fails. Environmental Management Inspectorate, Green Scorpions, to enforce body that it enforces body that can intervene where environmental compliance or sanitation related violence are involved. The relief sought. The petitioners request urgent and decisive intervention to restore reliable access to water for the residents of Hobhouse. In particular, the relief sought by the petitioners is that the Motsopa local municipality and relevant provincial authorities should urgently restore a consistent, safe, and reliable water supply to all affected households, public facilities, schools, businesses, and community institutions in Hobhouse and Dipelaneng, and also to implement an immediate and proper coordinated interim water supply, including regular water tank services, clear delivery schedules, and proper priority support for the vulnerable residents, such as the elderly, children, persons with disabilities, and households without alternative water access. Also to submit a time-bound action plan for repairing, upgrading and maintaining the water treatment plant and related water infrastructure to ensure sustainable service delivery. And also to provide regular communication to the affected communities through public notices, community meetings, and ward councillor and others accessible platform regarding progress, challenges, and expected restoration dates. The petition requests that the Portfolio Committee on Public Petitions and Executive Undertaking monitor the implementation of the proposed interventions and require periodic process report until reliable water services are fully restored. Recommendation to the committee. It is recommended that the Committee on the Portfolio Committee on Public Petitions and Executive Undertaking consider the petition and take appropriate oversight steps to ensure that the concerns raised by the residents of Hobhouse and Dipelaneng are addressed urgently and effectively. In this regard, it is recommended that the committee invites Motsopa local municipality, relevant provincial department responsible for cooperative governance, the provincial department responsible for water and sanitation, and any other relevant stakeholder to appear before the committee to account for prolonged water supply challenges in Hobhouse and Dipelaneng. Also to request a detailed written report from the Motsopa local municipality on the closure of the water treatment plant, the reason for the non-compliance, the corrective measures already taken, and the remaining step required to restore full operations. Also request the municipality to submit a funded time-bound action plan for the repair, upgrading, and the maintenance of the water treatment plant and related water infrastructure, including clear implementation milestones and responsible officials. To also request that the municipality to provide an immediate interim water relief plan, including schedule for water tank services, the number of trucks available, areas to be serviced, and measures to be prioritized vulnerable household and public institutions. To undertake, when feasible, oversight visit to Hobhouse and Dipelaneng to assess the impact of the water crisis on the affected communities and to verify the state of the water infrastructure. To request that the municipality and relevant provincial departments to provide a regular progress report until water supply has been fully restored and sustainable maintenance plan to be in place. The committee can also request the municipality and relevant provincial departments to ensure that the petitioners and affected communities are kept informed of progress through accessible communication channels, including community meetings, ward structures, and written public updates. The status of the petition, the committee has yet to consider the content of the petition and decide on the best possible course of the action for its resolution.
Thank you very much for that. I think I would propose, colleagues, that we once again do as we've done with previous petitions, and we write to every one of the stakeholders. We tell them about the petition and we ask for the explanations. And in this case, I think it is crucial that we do even 3 monthly follow-ups. We want 3 monthly reports on progress in this regard. I mean, it's outrageous. Can you imagine having a plant where where the staff could be electrocuted, or even die of chlorine gas? It's just outrageous what has been allowed here. So they need to really pull their socks up, and we need to do oversight over that. So I would propose that we do as we've done with the other petitions. We write to every stakeholder immediately. We put the issues to them, and we ask each and every one for plans, deadlines, and what on earth they're doing to restore water to the communities here. I think it's going to be an ongoing process. I would also like to know what the current issue is with the tankers and the water deliveries at the moment, because one of the requests is that they want regular tanker water in the various neighborhoods. Is that now currently not happening? So we need to find that out as well. Yeah, can you just tell us, the one member just asked who that letter, the petition, was actually signed by? Do we have that information? Namkla? Or Portia, who's got the petition to hand?
Okay, Chair, I'll have to check on my documents at the moment.
Thank you. Just if you could just go back and find out who exactly it's from, and I think on any analysis, I think make it clear who exactly has put it forward. Honourable Bowman.
Thanks, Chair. Chair, as much as I understand and resonate with the tanker services, we have got to, how do I say this? We have got to prioritize the water treatment plants. Understand that tankers are a temporary feature, but every time a tanker delivers water, it's costing the municipality money, and ultimately the ratepayer has to fork out the money. So the non-revenue water that is being delivered, and then obviously also the potential corruption that goes with it. So I think we need to sort of understand what has happened with that water treatment work, what the plant at least, and why it had gotten to the position it has. Is it potentially sabotage? Is there, where are we and what has happened? Yeah, I think I'm going around in circles, but I would like to have an idea of why it's got to this position, because the community cannot rely, it's not feasible, cannot rely on water tankers. Thank you very much, Chair.
Yeah, thanks. Some invaluable points there. I think if we can put in the letters to the municipality how many tankers they currently have. I don't want to read in a few months' time that they've now purchased 50 new tankers, which will now be hired out, leased out to certain people to make money off of, as opposed to simply fixing the plant. And you're quite right. We've seen this movie before, where huge numbers of tankers are bought to travel around giving buckets of water to people, when in fact the money should have gone to fixing the plants. So good points raised there. Please, let's include that in the various letters, but I'm really looking for deadlines, and I don't want to see that they've bought another dozen tankers, because that's just not the answer. The answer is to fix what you've got and to make them put them in a position where people can actually work in them and survive, as opposed to having their lives threatened, because the workers, I'm quite sure currently, aren't going to set foot in there if there's a chance they'll be electrocuted. So I think that's where we are with that. Anyone else have input on that matter? No? Okay, let's move on. Thank you for that. Do we have any further analysis on any of the newer petitions?
Yes, Chair, we still have one.
Which petition is that?
It's the Verena water bulk petition.
Okay, let's do that one then. If you've prepared the analysis on that,
Yes, Chair, can I share my screen?
please do. And then we'll do the executive undertaking. Will be the last. Thank you.
Sorry, Chair, I'm just trying to. Sis Portia, can you please assist me with flighting the Verena petition?
Okay, I'll do. It's flighted, Namhla. Thank you.
Thank you, Sis Portia. The Verena Low Scope Regional Bulk Water Supply Project petition. The Verena Low Scope Bulk Water Petition project petition highlights the urgent community concerns about unreliable access to potable water and delays in the implementation of the bulk water project. Just to highlight that this petition was submitted by Richard Kabini. The petition seeks oversight and intervention to
Sorry,
ensure
is this
that
a single resident? Sorry to interrupt. Who put forward the petition?
Yes, he submitted on behalf of the community.
Thank you. Please continue.
Okay. The petition seeks oversight and intervention to ensure that the project is prioritized, responsible stakeholders are held accountable, and clear timeframes are provided to address the water supply challenges affecting Verena, Low Scope, and surrounding communities. An overview of the petition. The Verena Low Scope Regional Bulk Water Supply Project is a cross-boundary bulk water scheme designed to address several water shortage in Tembisile, Hani local municipality in Mpumalanga and parts of Muse East and that falls under the alias Mutwaledi local municipality in Limpopo.
Please scroll the screen up for us.
Okay, in Limpopo. The project profiles describe the scheme as abstracting 20 megaliters per day from low-scope dam, conveying it through bulk pipelines, pump stations, and water treatment plants at Verena before supplying it to the beneficiary communities. It is intended to strengthen water supply to Verena, Twinfontein, Kwarsfontein, and other connected schemes in Thembisile local municipality. The project is led by the Department of Water and Sanitation as a sponsor, with Kangala District Municipality listed as the implementing agent and the Thembisile local municipality as the main beneficiary. The national statement on the project confirms that it is a 5-work package scheme involving about 30 kilometers of pipelines, 2 reservoirs, pump stations, and water treatment works. The project status. The Verena low-scope bulk project commenced on 22 January 2023 with a planned completion date of 30 November 2025. By September 2024, overall construction progress was 57%. On the 1st of April 2025, the Minister of Water and Sanitation and the Deputy Minister submitted that the low-scope regional bulk water supply project stands to benefit 54,913 households and consists of 5 work packages, all in which are under construction. The department highlighted the following progress: a raw water abstraction works at low-scope dam, 2 pump stations over 16 kilometers of back pipelines, a package plant, and a reservoir for the Motsi areas, which was 67% complete. The construction of a further 2 pump stations, approximately 28 kilometers pumping line, and a 10 megaliter raw water balancing tank. This work package is at 91% complete. The construction of 20 megaliters water treatment plant in Verena D and the construction of a 0.7 kilometer clear water pumping main to the command reservoir was 69% complete. The construction of 2 10 megaliter command reservoir in Verena D was 80% complete. The construction of 30 kilometers of bulk distribution pipelines to various reservoirs was 97% complete. It is
Namhla,
good to note that
Namhla, sorry to interrupt. Before you go on, I don't know if I missed it. Was there, or there must be, a projected completion date for this
yes,
project?
there was, Jane. Yes, there was.
When was that? Thank you.
Okay. Let me just scroll. The projected date was, sorry, Jane. It was by September 2024. Not sorry, it was not. Okay. The project, yes, it was 30 November 2025. That was the projected planned completion
That was the
date.
completion date, which has now
Yes.
been missed. Okay,
Yes.
so this now links directly with the executive undertaking. Okay, please go on.
On 1 April 2025, the Select Committee on Public Petition and Executive Undertakings considered executive undertakings made by the Minister of Water and Sanitation. One of these is related to the
Please scroll up
Verena.
again, we can't see.
Sis Pasha, can you please scroll up? Yes, on the
Portia, are you
green,
with us?
Sis Portia, okay, let me just share
Okay, where are you reading now? I'm some to be lost
on
now.
on the green box.
Yeah. Okay.
Table.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yes. Okay, on the 1st of April 2025, the Select Committee on Public Petition and Executive Undertaking considered executive undertakings made by the Minister of Water and Sanitation. One of these is related to the Verena bulk water project. The committee subsequently made the following findings on the project. Finding 5.3 in the report on the Select Committee on Public Petition and Executive Undertakings clearly states that the committee was assured that the completion date of 30 November 2025 was achievable. However, the risk exists that the completion date will not be achieved due to insufficient budget and that the project may be drawn out into an additional financial year. The relevant key stakeholders for this and their responsibilities, and roles and responsibilities is the Department of Water and Sanitation. As the project sponsor and client provides overall leadership, funding, oversight, and policy direction for the bulk water scheme. The Minister of Water and Sanitation, as the political head, convenes the political steering committee and provides high-level oversight to keep the project on track. Nkangala District Municipality to implement agent for the project, coordinate implementation and interfaces with service delivery structures. District Executive Mayor, local political oversight and coordination with the implementing structure and communities. Local executive mayor represent the beneficial municipalities, supports community communication and local implementation coordination. Consulting engineers provide design, supervision, and technical support for the specific work packages. Constructors, GV contractors, executes the construction work across the 5 work packages. The sought relief for this petition. The petitioners are requesting an oversight visit by leaders of the political parties representing in the parliament to the Verena Bulk Water Project construction site. They believe that the oversight visit would assist the Portfolio Committee on Public Petitions and Executive Undertakings to, firstly, assess the current state of construction and project progress, receive briefing from the relevant departments, contractors, and stakeholders to evaluate whether the public funds are being utilized efficiently and effectively, to identify challenges contributing to delay and cost escalations and to provide transparency and accountability. The petitioner requests that the committee intervention by engaging the relevant department, municipalities, and implementing agencies to address delays in the Verena low scope bulk water project. The petitioner wants responsible stakeholders to be held accountable for any delays, poor communication, or failure to deliver on the project. Interim measures to be put in place to ensure reliable access to potable water while the project is being completed. The petitioner also seeks regular progress reports to be submitted to the committee until the water supply challenges are resolved. Recommendations to the committee. The committee should conduct an oversight visit to Verena low-scope bulk water project site to assess current state of the construction, progress made, and challenges affecting completion. The committee should request written and oral briefing from the Department of Water and Sanitation, the Tembisile Hani local municipality, implementing agents and contractors on the project status, funding, timeframes, and outstanding work. The responsible stakeholders should be required to provide a clear implementation plan with measurable milestones and realistic completion dates. The committee should recommend that interim water supply measures be strengthened to ensure affected communities have reliable access to potable water while the project is being finalized. The committee should require regular progress reports until the project is completed and the water supply challenges have been addressed. The status of the petition, the committee has to yet consider the content of the petition and decide on the best possible course of the action for its resolution.
Right, thank you so much. Just for further information, the Verena bulk water project was launched in 1996. It failed. In 2017, there was an intervention and there was some movement. 2024, there were upgrades, but at that stage, that's just over a year ago, only 9 of the 55 villages were actually physically receiving water. Now, if you run back in your research there, it will tell you that, for example, the bulk pipeline, etc., 67% complete. Clear water pumping main, 69%, 80%, etc. This was something that should have been completed last year. So there are issues here, and this has gone on now for decades. It's not a new project. It didn't start yesterday, and minister after minister after minister seem to have failed miserably to lead it to a conclusion. So yes, I think we must go there. This is then tied in with our first executive undertaking. So let's, before we take further decisions, let's look at what the minister had to say in the executive undertaking.
The executive undertaking, it's not, let me see. Okay, let's see.
I understand your research is not complete with that, but I think it will assist the committee to see what came out of that, because what we have now is an undertaking by the deputy president, that everything's hunky-dory and that many places are now receiving water, which were not receiving water a year ago. And that's why I said at the outset, this is the one place I think we have to go and literally turn on taps and check for ourselves. Let's have a look at what he said. And please, I do understand completely that this has not been completed. I just want a summary of his undertaking. It's actually the deputy president, yes.
Executive undertaking made by the deputy president. Just gonna start the summary of the undertaking made by the.
That's all we need.
2024. In 2024, the deputy president undertook an oversight visit to Giyani to this project in his capacity as the chairperson of the then water task team. During this visit, the deputy president received a report regarding the reticulation project, which demonstrated progress in reticulating clean water to 55 villages in Mopani district. At this time, the project had almost completed phase 1, which had begun distributing water to 24 villages. Phase 2 of the project, which would see reticulation to the remaining 31 villages, was set to begin in the 2025-2026 financial year. The Speaker of the National Assembly referred the executive undertaking made by the Deputy President on the 19th of March 2026 during an oral reply section in the National Assembly. Executive undertaking. During the engagement held between the Office of the Deputy President and the district, the following The following updates was provided. Upgrades to the bulk pipelines that link the water treatment works to the 55 villages under Giyani water scheme had reached 92.3 completion. Refurbishment of the Giyani water treatment works were completed and the plant produces 30 megaliters per day. The project to upgrade the water treatment works to 40 megaliters per day had also begun with memorandum of understanding currently awaiting approval to begin implementation. Phase 2 of the Giyani reticulation project was split into Phase 2A and 2B to assist in speeding up the completion of the project. The district had indicated that throughout 2025, Phase 2A received the relevant approvals to begin construction. A memorandum of understanding had been signed between the Department of Water and Sanitation and the district to formally begin the process as of June 2026. As from June 2026, the district has begun with the relevant administrative process for contract commencement. Contextual background of the project. The Giyani Water Treatment Works is a central component of the broader Giyani Water Intervention Project, as it treats raw water for supply to Giyani town and surrounding villages in the Mopani District Municipality. The plant historically relied on local sources such as the Nsami Dam and the Middle Litaba Dam. But declining yields and persistent water supply failures led to the decision to augment supply through the Nondoni Nsani bulk pipeline. The refurbishment of the treatment works restored its original capacity approximately 30 megaliters per day, while a further upgrade to 40 megaliter as planned to strengthen supply reliable for the 55 villages targeted under the scheme. The background of the executive undertaking must be understood against the prolonged history of water insecurity in the Greater Giyani and surrounding villages in Mopani district. The Giyani Water Service Project was initiated in 2009 to 2010 financial year after the persistent failure in local water supply, which were worsened by drought conditions, declining yields from Nsani Dam and Middle Litaba Dam.
Okay, look, I think we've got the picture there. My initial problem, and the reason I'm being very skeptical here, is this project has gone on for nearly heading for 20 years. You know, the claim is that in 2004, that was according to what the minister stated. He claimed that 24 of the villages, of the 55 villages, now received water. However, a report in the media at the same time said that only 9 were receiving water. So that's why I'm saying we need to go and check for ourselves. The fact that this doesn't seem to be, you know, you can tell me 90% for 3 years, 90% complete. But complete is complete, and it's not. And they're already 6 or 7 months over budget, and not budget, over time in terms of the deadline. So when it says it has 23 out of 24 villages completed, I am very skeptical, saying that everything will be hunky-dory by November. So it's taken all this time, and suddenly in a matter of 2 months it's going to be completed. I'm not convinced. Therefore, I believe we need to go there and check for ourselves and talk to the engineers ourselves. I don't know where these figures are coming from the engineers or from Water Affairs. I don't know where they've got these figures from. So that's my feeling on it. Anyone else? Honorable Bowman, your thoughts?
Thanks, Chair. Sorry, I'm just getting to my notes. Yeah, there's having dealt with the abstraction issues in eThekwini, it's very easy for these water boards to blame a lot of things other than the fact that they have failing infrastructure themselves. Many communities, this is just another symptom of a substantial issue that we deal with in South Africa, where communities, it first starts with a couple of days where we don't have water, and then it turns into years. But I think we need to take into consideration that the petitioner is asking for more than a general progress report. The request is for parliamentary oversight at the project site. So I concur that we do need to go to the site to have a look, see what is going on. The only issue I do have is with the petitioner's own documents. He refers inconsistently to the expenditure exceeding either 5 billion or 6 billion. So the original project was supposed to have cost 1.2 billion rand, and we are now sitting at between 5 or 6 billion rand. That in itself, again, is it a typical South African cash cow? We don't know. So I think if we have to go and speak to the contractors, also another thing that would be quite interesting is over this period of time, what normally happens is the original contractor is not the actual contractor that is currently sitting on the project. There's been substantial movement. So that I do propose that we record these amounts as allegations, and then require that the petitioner to provide the source documents, and then compel DWS and the implementing agent to provide a complete financial and physical progress reconciliation before we go on site visit. And that way we can be better prepared, because again, just out of my own experience, you sit in front of the water board and they literally give you wonderful, beautiful presentations that actually mean nothing. So I think we just need to make sure that what we've got in front of us is tangible, and we can argue the point. But if this project has been going on for as long as it has, you can quite understand the frustration of these communities that have literally been, again, water tankers, JoJo tanks, and at what cost to the taxpayer. Thank you very much, Chair.
Yeah, thanks very much, Honorable Bowman. I think you're right. The cost, when we write in, I would like included, what was the original proposed cost of this project, and how has it gone up to the billions it is now? Please get us a final figure. And why did they miss the deadline, which was December last year? And what is their latest deadline? Is it December this year? Is it December next year? When is it? So yeah, I think it's crucial for us to get there, because claims are being made and then there are reports that those claims are false. And it as you say, water boards will tell people what they want to hear. And I fear this may well have been what has happened to the Deputy President. He's been told what they want him to hear. He then gives it to us in Parliament. He did do an oversight visit, I think 2 years ago, but unless you really drill down, figuratively speaking, you won't necessarily get to the truth of the matter. So that's my thought on it. Anyone else have input? No other hands? Okay, so yeah, I think the way forward there is to again send out a flurry of letters to all stakeholders. We have the letter from the minister, and these two issues are integrally linked. So we have to treat them as such. Although the executive summary, the executive undertaking has to be treated a little bit differently, obviously, to the actual petition itself, even though they are linked. So we need to track down the exact costs to date. It seems to me the country's about 5 billion down the drain, and who knows what it will be in the end. And the claim that 23 villages are practically completed, and they list them, could well be a fabrication, because apparently it's only 9. So yeah, I think there are a lot of inconsistencies here, and yeah, I think we also need to know if the original person who landed the tender, the original contractor, is still there, or did they do what has happened in countless occasions, take the money and run, and did they have to start the process again? What caused that massive delay between 1996 and 2017? I mean, it was just forever, and nothing was happening. So was that the situation? What caused it? We don't know. So I think we do need to know that sort of information. So put together the letters. Let me look through. Let me change them where we need to. We have got there a grid with a current status and progress, and it gives all these wonderful figures of where things are in terms of percentages. But again, yeah, planned completion dates run from September this year, October, November. Oh, that was last year. Those are the completion dates. So there's nothing new. It does say progress as of 2026, but yeah, it doesn't actually fall in with the reality of what the date is today. So this one really needs us to dig,
Sorry.
and we'll have to. Thank you.
Sorry, Chair. It's
Yes.
Nicole Bowman.
Mhm.
I also would like to make a proposal that we get it was almost like a spider diagram of who the I'm trying to get the right terminology, because very often municipalities will rely on the water board and the water board on others. And very often, like what we're experiencing currently in Durban, is that the new development is well on the way with the dam being built. However, it will be built, probably finalized 4 or 5 years before Giyani Water have even finished their part of the program, meaning that by the time Giyani Water is ready to go live, you probably find that the infrastructure and computers, the tech side of things on the other side, on the dam side, is now obsolete. So I just would also
Could
like
well
to have
be.
an understanding of how many handoffs or how many parts of the program there are, so that we understand as well that by the time there is a completion date, that everybody is ready to go live and not just one aspect of the program or project.
And
I hope that makes sense.
Absolutely does, and that's where the meeting with the engineer will come in, because we need absolute experts to give us the truth about what's going on, and that, as far that between that and speaking to the villagers themselves, that's the only way I can see it happening. Okay. Do you have anything else you'd like to add there, Naukla?
Not at all.
Okay. So please go ahead and add in, and I know you also saw a report about the terrible situation there, which bears no relation whatsoever to what was told to Parliament by the Deputy President. Am I correct?
Yes, Chair, there's an article on the 3 of August. There was the way the workers not working, they've just stopped working because they were not paid. So I think that's the article.
Yeah. Well, there we go. So there are still major issues to do with this, and this is not helping the communities in the area. So this one needs a great deal more investigation. Thank you for that. I think if I'm looking through here, that's pretty much it for the moment. Anyone else have any suggestions on ways forward that you would like us to include in the raft of letters that will now go out to the various people who sent in petitions and the like? Not. Okay, well then I think we're done for the evening. Thank you for being here, all of you. I know it's late, but it's basically the only time we've managed to find when people will attend. If we are going to have people come to Parliament, we might have to do that on a Friday morning, as much as people don't want to attend Friday mornings. But let's see how that works. Is that Portia with your hand up?
Yeah, yes, Chair. There's one more item, a discussion on the preferred meeting slot for the committee, because that's the information that the House Chairperson requires from the committee. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you. I think that the general consensus is that with everyone else's commitments during the week on Tuesday mornings, Wednesday mornings, that this seems to be the best evening. The sitting is usually short, finishing at 6 or 6:30, and we can then meet. The other evenings could finish at 10 o'clock, so they seem to be out, and Friday mornings, I've had many a Friday morning meeting where nobody arrives. So traveling is sometimes a huge issue on a Friday. Is there anyone who thinks that this is the time we need to fix as the committee time, or does someone else have an idea of when they would prefer to meet? I'm happy to meet at 5 in the morning, but I'm guessing nobody else is. Anyone have any input here? I'm not seeing any hands. So yeah, I think for the moment we need to make this our standard meeting period from 6 on a Wednesday evening, and we will currently, because everything is online, we will stay meeting online for the moment until Parliament reconvenes properly, and we're once again attending sittings in the Dome and the like. Then we will have to meet physically. But for the moment, as nothing is meeting physically, we will continue to do this online. I see no hands, no comments. So Portia, are you happy with that?
Yes, Chairperson, at least it
If you
gives
can
direction.
take
Thank you,
that
Chair.
forward. Yes.
Yes.
Thank you for that. And as I say, we do have the full chairpersons of committees meeting next week, I think it is, coming up, or maybe the following one. And we can then confirm all of the above. But for the moment, I think we've come to the end of the meeting. So I want to thank everybody very much for being here this evening. Thank you and good night.
Thank you, Chair. Good night.
Thank you.